let's get started. I want to hear a little bit from you. So we're going to open with a poll. It's going to come right up on your screen here. There it is. How do you feel about career prospects in the food service industry? Very hopeful, somewhat hopeful, uncertain, or not hopeful? Very hopeful, 63%, somewhat hopeful, 35%. Nice, it's a little bit of a measurement. Well, let's see what we're going to do today and see where we stand at the end. So our goal today is to explore the state of the food industry and learn how Johnson & Wales University is at the helm of innovation in food. To show us exactly how JWU is leading the future of food, we're going to go to Chef Deladon for a live demonstration in the Food Innovation Design Lab. Hey, Chef.
All right. Hey there. Thanks so much, Mike. And thanks everyone for being here with us today and sharing your afternoon with us. We have an informative and engaging hour planned together today. And I certainly want to thank you all for being here. I want to start out today with a quote. This quote comes from a gentleman and a chef whose philosophy and whose food I've studied relentlessly over the last decade. His name is Joan Roca, and he and his two brothers own a restaurant called El Salo de Can Roca. And in 2013 and 2015, their restaurant was actually named the best on the globe, the best restaurant in the world. And I happened to be scrolling through some social media the other day, and I came across this quote, and I thought I'd share it with you today. Restaurants will continue to exist because they depend on the emotional and human necessary connection. Everything else can go virtual, but not this. There's no denying that the food service industry and the hospitality industry have certainly taken its fair share of hits and unforeseen downturns in a lot of ways because of the COVID-19 pandemic. Many industries have, and that resonates with us. At Johnson & Wales University, when we're faced with challenges, we problem solve. It's in our DNA. It starts by talking about these problems. When we talk about problems, we bring them to the forefront in an open and honest way. And that's what we want to do today. Okay? So I'm going to change the tone up just a little bit because I can hardly contain my excitement. Because on top of that, on top of having this open dialogue and open conversation about the state of the industry, we're going to introduce you today to the College of Food, Innovation, and Technology. I'm joined today by a team of friends and colleagues that of whom I admire greatly. And they're going to take a little bit of a deeper dive into both of these topics in just a little bit. But what I'm here specifically to do today is to play with food. So all the parents out there that told you not to play with food growing up, all those rules and regulations, well, we break them here at Johnson & Wales. So I'm going to play with some food today, and I'm going to look at the chemistry and the alchemy of that food. All right. I'm here today on campus in beautiful Providence, Rhode Island. It's a little rainy outside, but that's not too bad. I'm here on campus in our brand new hallmark of a laboratory we call the Food Innovation Design Lab, or the FIDDLE for short. You can see some of the fun, beautiful Heston equipment behind me. And I'm going to toggle over to my other device real quick and kind of give you a view of what I'm seeing. Okay. So you can see there's equipment in this lab, guys, that I'm still learning how to pronounce. Okay. This is some incredible state-of-the-art equipment and just a laboratory where we can collaborate, a place where we can think. You can see there's workstations over here. There's even a garage door we can put down to separate the two spaces. And if you see far out in the distance, you can see those colorful ranges and hood fans. I love when the students come in and say, I got blue, I got orange. So what an incredible, fun, engaging lab that I get to spend my afternoon in. Okay, I'm gonna switch back to the main screen here and just talk about what I'm gonna do for my demo, all right? It's gonna sound simple, but it's a strawberry shortcake. Next week is June. I wanna celebrate some berries. So I'm gonna do a strawberry shortcake with an avocado chantilly cream nitro ice cream and strawberry broth. Again, sounds simple, right? But that's the point. The entire dish has 6 ingredients total. But I'm going to use some innovation in tech to make sure that everything that goes on my plate is in its most refined and perfect form. And I think that's the whole idea, is kind of keep it simple, but bring food to that haute cuisine, or that next level, by using innovation and technology. Okay. And this is just one example. Chefs on this call are going to explore many, many different areas around food and innovation. Okay. So I'm just talking about fine dining, center of the plate food today. All right. So let's keep that in mind. 3 things I'm going to use today that you might not see in your everyday kitchen. 1, I'm going to use a centrifuge. It's right behind me right now, spinning at 15,000 RPMs. That's 5 times as fast as the earth is spinning. I'm actually scared to stand next to this thing, but that's pretty quick. You might see centrifuges in biology labs and hospital labs, maybe not so much in a kitchen, but that's where we are. We're using innovative ways to get what I called earlier, a strawberry broth. All right. When I think of broth, I think of consomme, I think of clear. How can I use this centrifuge to isolate the natural water in the berry? Okay. And that's what I'm going to show you in a little bit. I'm also going to use nitrous oxide, or dinitrogen monoxide, N2O. You think about whipping cream or chantilly cream, right? We whisk it quickly. We use a KitchenAid mixer to incorporate oxygen. Well, I'm going to cram a bunch of nitrogen and a bunch of oxygen into this little canister. And when you whip cream by hand, oxygen into cream by hand, you actually double it in volume. In this little canister, by cramming all those gases in there together, I can actually quadruple it. So it's a cost savings measure too, not only fun and innovative. And the last thing I'm going to use is L2N, or liquid nitrogen. Oh my goodness, I'm scared. I've got a lot of protective equipment here with me today, but I'm going to make ice cream in seconds using a KitchenAid mixer and liquid nitrogen, which is 375 degrees below zero. I'm doing this because there's a qualifier when we talk about ice cream, and it's called overrun. And that's the air that's incorporated into ice cream. Do yourself a favor, get a pint of Haagen-Dazs ice cream and a pint of Breyers and eat them side by side, and you will do your science experiment at home and know exactly what I mean when I say overrun. One is going to be super creamy on the palate. The other one's going to be a little crystalline, a little icy, and a little airy. That's not what we're looking for. The liquid nitrogen is going to freeze the water in the eggs and in the cream so fast that I'm going to get a premium mouthfeel. And that's important to me when I'm selling food in a restaurant environment. I want it to be perfect. So I'm using innovation today. I'm using technology today to take 6 ingredients and bring them to the next level. Okay. So you're going to check back in with me in just a little bit. I'm going to turn it back over to Mike. And thanks again so much for being here.
Hey, thanks, Chef. I appreciate homework like that. I think I'm going to have to compare a lot of ice creams just to be sure, just for research purposes over the course of this weekend. So I appreciate that homework. I'll report back. This is just a glimpse of the types of hands-on work you'll do as a JWU student. And there's never been a better time to join the JWU family, as the university officially elevates, as you heard the chef say, the College of Culinary Arts, and expands program offerings under its new name, the College of Food Innovation and Technology, otherwise known as CFIT. And CFIT brings innovation and collaboration to a whole new level. Let's look at one example of the types of cross-industry collaborations made possible through CFIT, called the Maple Project.
This originally started from a researcher at URI, one of the top researchers of maple in the country. They were able to get a federal grant to really continue their search to think about the health benefits of maple syrup. And now we are hired through the FIX as interns to try and play with and prove the power of maple syrup as something that can exist in our kind of material and edible culture.
definitely. It was a completely new experience. It was really fun.
Yeah, I think what we took from each other is like the differences in process. Yeah. Like Olivia's taking a lot of kind of known ingredients and making something fabulous. Whereas typically in industrial design, you're kind of like feeling a lot of unknowns to make something known.
Right now, we're working on formulating a type of candle, whether it be for going on top of your pancakes or cake, or even floating on a drink. And we're trying to incorporate how the syrup melts into things.
Awesome. To tell us more about the exciting launch of CFIT, we're going to hear from Chef Stansfield, the Assistant Dean of CFIT, and Chef McCooch, Department Chair and Director of the Ecolab Center for Culinary Science. They're with us here today.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Assistant Dean of CFIT, Gil Stansfield, and I'd like to welcome you to the chat regarding the College of Food Innovation and Technology. Some of the things that we've been doing, just a quick overview of 47 years. We've been creative, innovative, adaptive. We've been change makers. We've also worked as food advocates, food policy improvers. We utilize local farms, sustainable farming purchasing, sustainable seafood recipe developers, and food waste minimizers. Some of the things that Chef Deladone might be explaining to you also is we take vegetable scraps and make powders that we incorporate into doughs for pasta. We might make a red beet pasta with vegetable powder, or we use it as plate garnishes. We are also passionate educators for future chefs who feed our medical professionals and patients. Sports nutrition chefs, chefs who utilize food as medicine, chef technologists, chefs who rethink production, find inefficiencies and correct them. We are still developing, progressing, and evolving. If we could go to the next slide, I'd like to introduce Department Chair Mike McCooch, just to go over some more of what we're doing at CFIT.
Excellent, thank you. So if we take a look at the College of Food Innovation and why the university chose to elevate the College of Culinary Arts, in short, it's mainly because of the diversification that we see in culinary education into new, exciting, dynamic disciplines while building upon our current reputation in culinary arts. The diversification in culinary education represents a paradigm shift that moves our craft from its humble past focused on workforce development to one that now includes culinary education as an academic discipline. This is represented and perhaps best illustrated by our expanding program offerings, which you can see on this slide, and some of the new disciplines that have come out of these programs. So culinary nutrition, culinary science, sustainable food systems, and for the first time, graduate level studies in food safety, and coming soon, food innovation and technology. These programs will further push the possibilities of food, moving our craft forward. Next slide. So the College of Food Innovation and Technology will allow you the opportunity to hone your craft, develop new and exciting restaurant concepts, as well as explore the connections between food and health, innovate new food products, advocate for your local food system, protect our vulnerable food supply chains, lead in the next food revolution, and all making a difference in this world. So there's really endless possibilities that are around this, this new college. And I recognize that, this is some challenging times for really all of us. But it is often during these challenging times that humanity is pushed to achieve tremendous advances. And it is with food that we fuel these new ideas. And it is really with food that we end up celebrating these advances oftentimes. And it is with food that we come together and share. So hopefully that provided you with some insight into why we decided to change the name of the college, but it only skims the surface of what the College of Food Innovation and Technology is. The college, like the university, is made up of a community of people. It is our alumni that continue to push the limits of food. It is our faculty that I have the privilege of serving and working alongside. It is our staff that continues to help support the mission of our institution, and it will be you. So your first homework assignment that I'm going to give you, Chef Deladon gave you a fun one, but I'm giving you another one. So your first homework assignment over this summer is to really dream about what contributions you want to make, and then allow the College of Food Innovation and Technology to cultivate those dreams in any direction or path you choose. So it's really limited to your, only to your imagination. So with that, I want to turn it back over and thank you for your time.
Hey, thank you, Chef McCooch and Chef Stansfield. Now that we've learned a little bit about CFIT, let's take a quick poll. Which part of the interdisciplinary CFIT curriculum are you most interested in? Is it food and culture, technology and innovation, sustainability, health and policy, or food safety? All right, I see 63% food and culture, 13% technology and innovation, 17% sustainability, and 8% health and policy. Food safety, drat, we've got no votes today. All right, let's see how our minds may change throughout this thing here. Let's check back with Chef Deladon, see what he's cooking.
All right, thanks, Mike, so much. I didn't see an all of the above tab on that survey, and that would have been my choice. But that's great. Food and culture, so important. I'm so glad that kind of rose. I was rooting for sustainability, but only because it's what I really feel strongly about. But food and culture is important. Remember that food is an international language, right? Introducing yourself to someone through food is the best way to get to know people. Cook for them. I'm Italian. You're coming to my house, you're getting pasta. Sorry, guys, it's just how it is. So we're back here in the FIDDLE lab, or the Food Innovation Design Lab, and my centrifuge just stopped spinning, and I see a bunch of ice crystals on the inside. I don't have the means to do a poll, so I'll do my own poll. I'll do some rhetorical polling. Why is there ice crystals on the inside of the centrifuge? Well, for one, it helps to cool down the rotor and the product that's inside. Why do I need to cool down the rotor and the product that's inside? There's a little word called friction. And if you're spinning this thing right here, this big thing that I'm holding, that is one strand of carbon fiber, believe it or not, all woven together to create this rotor. And as this thing's spinning at 15,000 RPMs, that's very, very fast, you're going to create a lot of friction. Friction creates heat. Okay, I need the 0 degree temperature inside the centrifuge to make sure that I'm not boiling my strawberry puree. So I'm going to unveil what we had in the centrifuge. Okay, and think back to what I said. I'm doing a strawberry shortcake with avocado chantilly cream, liquid nitrogen ice cream, and strawberry broth. Chef, what the heck, and why would you call it broth? Again, I'm trying to take my savory background, my classical French cuisine background, and move it into this sweet and pastry world. So when I think of broth, again, I'm thinking clear, not clear like water. I can't do that. I can't create miracles, but I'm talking clear like transparent or translucent, okay? And the only way to do that is to isolate the water. Everything in nature, us, fruits, vegetables, okay? We're all created out of water, mostly water, okay? So how do I isolate the water in the strawberry? And I'm going to toggle back onto my phone device here, okay, and show you quickly what I'm seeing here, okay? Look at how the spinning, and you'll see that because the rotor has it's in there diagonally, you'll see that in the corner, you see the starchy plant solids, so the starchy solids from the strawberry. And then all of that liquid in there, that is natural strawberry water, okay? Really, really cool. I'm going to toggle back. Okay. And what I need to do though, I need to do something that we hear in the beverage world. I'm going to decant it. Okay. And by decanting, I mean, straining it through a fine sieve, just like this, okay? And as I'm doing that, I'm just going to quickly talk about the nitrous oxide canister, and then we'll go back to the panel discussion. But when I talked earlier, I may have gone a little fast, and I said nitrogen and oxygen, N2O, and all these big scientific terms. But you can get these canisters, you know, online. You can find them. You probably see them in Starbucks a lot too. That's what they use for their whipped cream. But this is the nitrous oxide canister, and that goes in here, okay? And then I charge it, I twist it, and it punctures a hole into the canister, and it fills that can with the nitrous oxide, okay? And what that does is it creates this the creaming method, or that whipping method, or that whipping effect that we're looking for, whipped cream. And this is just half and half, blended with avocado, sugar, and vanilla bean. So an avocado chantilly cream, okay? That's what I did in here. Charged it with the nitrous oxide. And you can see that in this beaker, well, maybe you can't because I'm blocking it, but you can see in this beaker here, I'm straining out my strawberry broth, okay? And this is clear as day, all right? So when we come back a little bit later, I'm gonna do a close-up shot of the plate. In the meantime, when we go to the panel, I'm gonna start plating things up, and when we come back, I'll have a finished plate for you, and I'm gonna make some liquid nitrogen ice cream. Stay tuned, okay? So I'm gonna go back to Mike, and we'll see you shortly.
You're making me hungry, Chef. All right, so we know that now more than ever, the food industry is undergoing rapid and unexpected change, but no place is better prepared to respond and adapt to these changes than Johnson & Wales University. We've invited some of JWU's top professors, leaders in their respective fields, to reflect on the state of the food industry and how JWU is revolutionizing culinary education. So let's meet some of our panelists. Joining us today, we have Chef Britt, the assistant professor of CFIT with expertise in global cuisines, sensory analysis, and sustainability. We have Chef Mirabello, associate professor of CFIT with expertise in farm-to-table desserts and dietary restrictions. And lastly, Chef McGuire, the associate instructor of CFIT, who is incredibly well-versed in hot and fine cuisine and restaurant operations. So in a few minutes, I'm gonna be taking your questions. So if you came to this with questions in mind, start feeding them into that chat. If you've got some questions because of what you hear today, throw those things into the chat too, because I'm gonna break away in a minute and grab some of your questions from the chat. Well, also, if you wanna raise your hand and would prefer to voice your questions, we'll take those too. So just raise your hand. So with our first question here, I'm going to address this for Chef Mirabello and Chef McGuire. How has the COVID-19 pandemic affected the food, beverage, and hospitality industry?
I'll start with this one. I think that, it's elephant in the room. This is something that it's really severely impacted our industry. And, but I think this is something that we can come back from stronger. I mean, as chefs, we're innovators, we're very resilient, we're adaptive. This is something that's going to give us an opportunity to come back stronger. And I think people right now are really sick of cooking at home and can't wait for the restaurants to open back up again. But I think it just gives us a really great opportunity to be more innovative and try something new and be more powerful than before.
Thanks, Chef. What do you say, Chef McGuire?
Yeah, I agree with Chef Mirabello. Everything from the whole model of the dining experience from restaurant is completely changed already, and it will continue to evolve. Everything from the increased sanitation, obviously, to the overall guest experience, how that food is delivered, the delivery model, and then just the sustainable business model in itself. And then all of those, I think, Johnson & Wales and the faculty here and the students can forge together and be part of the global community to trailblaze and evolve the industry shoulder to shoulder. So I think it's a very good start, to have this open discussion as they are right now in the industry about all levels, about all aspects of it and how it's going to evolve. And I think Johnson & Wales is really situated well to trailblaze that and to forge that with the global community.
Yeah, along those lines, Chef, do you see this industry bouncing back from this sudden downturn? And if you do, how, and certainly open this up to Chef Mirabello too, but how will students prepare to be a part of these essential industries?
Oh my gosh. I think the it's going to be, it's not a sprint and it's not a race. It's a marathon. I don't think it's going to be, the new model is going to show itself ever present, in the very near future, being, tomorrow. I think it's going to evolve and it's going to take time. And there's going to be a lot of pivots that are going to have to happen. I think in the long run, within a few years, this industry is going to bounce back massively and globally. I think more than ever, there's going to be a demand of not just chefs, of well-rounded individuals in the industry that can see the business model, that can see the sustainability aspect, that can support other small businesses and the community, not just a person that can cook well. It's a well-rounded individual that is going to be in demand. It will be more of a community-driven effort, a globally, and then a globally driven effort by the restaurants, by the individuals and chefs are going to lead the way for that, and then create new ways to deliver this model and to deliver this food, deliver this experience. I'm full-heartedly optimistic, and I have faith that this industry will bounce back stronger than what it was on every level, from sanitation to the sustainable business model, to the better work conditions, to overall better food at the end of the day. I'm very hopeful with that.
Yeah, so we've got some questions I see popping in on the chat. Sam, you want to grab one of those questions and read that out for us?
Sure. How are the culinary classes at JWU going to be affected in the fall?
We can go. This is Assistant Dean Gil Stansfield responding. We can really just speak to what the state of Rhode Island is, what the current conditions are currently. Right now, the plan is to go about business with our summer course. I can give you an example. We have arrows and directions and distancing with our students, and we also have plexiglass partitions. Students will be required to wear facial masks, cloth masks within the classroom. And we've also taken precautions with our airflow within our labs. We've increased them to 120%, so we bring in more fresh air into our labs. And you'll see a lot of arrows giving you directions and which way to go, which way to come in, which way to go out. We've even taken into consideration our tasting components. Most of our tasting will be done outside of the classroom, because in the current situation, you would have to remove your mask to do tasting. So we've been taking a lot of safety and sanitation protocols and standards, and based on the state of Rhode Island and the Department of Health, we've been adopting what they've suggested to us, and just to ensure everybody's safety. And as we know, it's in phases. Currently, we're in phase 2. So we're hoping in the fall we'll be in phase 3. And phase 3 will probably be face masks. But as it goes further on to the phases, there'll be less requirements for plexi and things like that.
Yeah, thanks, Chef. I think this one's probably for Chef Mirabella. What are some things that we'll learn in baking and pastry arts, and will it be new recipes, and will it get into international desserts?
Yeah, so in baking and pastry, the first 2 years that you're there, you'll obviously learn just foundations. You'll learn different mixing methods for, making cookies or muffins, scones, different types of breads, mousses, creams, ice creams, all this stuff. So that would just be a foundational, first 2-year common experience. And then as you start to progress, if you continue on in the baking and pastry 4-year program, you'll build upon those foundations and put more of a, more management more planning, menu planning, creativity. So as far as international desserts, maybe not in the first year, but definitely in the years to come. After that, you really put in what you get out. So if there's something that you're really passionate about and want to experience more, there's chefs and classes that you can certainly be part of that will, experience the entire baking and pastry as one,
Yeah, thank you, Chef. If you want to raise your hand and voice a question, feel free to do so. You know how to click that button, and I'll call on you and bring your voice into the conversation, make it a little bit more interactive. But until then, we got a couple more chat questions. What you got, Sam?
Sure. How competitive would you say it is to get jobs in the restaurant industry?
So I think that, pardon the pun, but there are a lot of, hungry young cooks out there. And I think that, competition is it's always been there. And, there's always been an opportunity for Johnson & Wales students to get involved in some of the best restaurants. I do think the advantage our students have is that they have the resources of our faculty to help them. Now, we're not going to, make any phone calls or get them any jobs for them, but, we will give them the insight on how to succeed once they, get their foot in the door to an interview, and we will coach them along those ways. I can speak to the Advanced Culinary Arts Bachelor's Program. In our first year of that program, we placed students in restaurants that had a combined of like 23 Michelin stars. So there's really Johnson & Wales students at some of the best restaurants in the world. And, I think as a faculty member, that is my job and our job to help students get ahead and get in the door and to really succeed in getting those jobs.
Over the years, Johnson & Wales faculty have reimagined culinary education in the form of the College of Food Innovation Technology. And so building off of your global reputation, where's CFIT going?
So everywhere. I mean, Johnson & Wales has always been very forward thinking in its education, specifically when it comes to food. But the reason for CFIT is because the current model, which was the College of Culinary Arts, wasn't big enough. We needed to expand because food expanded. So by doing that, we are able to entertain all the sort of new avenues food is going in. So that could be culinary science, food nutrition, or culinary nutrition rather, food policy, sustainable agriculture, food research and development. And of course, which I always think this will be the sort of the foundation that Johnson & Wales will have, is that advanced culinary and baking and pastry arts, which, will launch students and propel them to be successful in any of those careers we just talked about.
Yeah, thanks, Chef. Open this up to all the chefs. Someone's asking in the chat, what's a freshman year as a culinary nutrition major like?
I can answer that one. So we have a common first year experience regardless whatever program you're in. So if you're in culinary nutrition, culinary science, bachelor's degree in culinary arts, you have that common first year experience. So which is really giving you from the laboratory side your very basic culinary skills. And then from the academic side, some of your general education courses. And this allows you to really explore some of these other disciplines as well, because we realize sometimes it's difficult. You just graduated high school, what might you want to do within the food service industry? Some of you may not even be aware of some of the opportunities within some of these disciplines. And this provides you the opportunity to kind of get your feet wet and potentially transition into some of these other programs very easily if you choose to change your mind. So common first year experience of the basic culinary labs and general education courses for the first year.
Thanks, Chef Makuch. Sam, I see there's a number of questions that are related to safety and the particular time we're in. Might you pull one of those from the chat and ask it on behalf of one of our attendees?
Sure, I'll go through those. While I'm looking at those, there's one about the culinary labs too, and asking if we could give an example of an average class day in a culinary lab and how long the culinary labs are.
Thanks, Sam.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Who wants to grab it?
I can grab it. So, for a culinary lab, if we're in that sort of common first year, they're about 6 hours long. Our students generally arrive a few minutes early to kind of put their stuff away and get their, sort of mise en place set up, and that's a word we use to sort of encompass everything about planning in the food industry. And then we'll go into either a discussion, or we'll jump right into some product ID. We'll talk about how the day is going to go. There will always be an agenda. And then there's a heavy lab component where students are actively moving around. They're engaging in food discovery. They're working on new dishes that maybe they've researched the night before. And then they're ultimately sort of culminating that in either a service of some kind or a family meal, which is obviously evolving in our current climate. But we have an opportunity to share the results of our day, not only with each other, but in a very exploratory sort of sensory way, where we can dive deeper into, like, it's not just chicken Parmesan, but why each flavor works so well in that dish.
Yeah, thanks, Chef. Sam?
Yeah, I think some of these might have been answered before, but will masks be required, and will students have to get their temperatures taken before class?
So masks, yes, masks would be required and encouraged for students prior to arriving to campus to arrive with a cloth mask. As far as temperatures being checked, we are not doing that due to the fact that asymptomatic people don't have temperatures. But what we will have, and you'll be seeing an announcement from senior leadership coming out, every student will have access to an app in which they will be prompted to ask a series of questions. And through the series of questions, it'll project either a green screen on their phone or a red screen on their phone. If they don't have the app, the faculty member will ask them to log on to a computer, and they will have to show that they've been approved to come into class, or they need to go to health services. I think I answered all those questions that were in the chat.
Thank you, Chef. Someone had asked about size of classes. What does that look like? Whether that, I don't know if that changes in this particular environment or if it's the same, but someone was curious about that.
Yep. So I'll field that one. So again, we can go currently where we're at today, because as we know, things are changing. We are delivering our spring course in the summer, and we will have 15 kids in the class, or 14 students and 1 faculty member.
Wow.
In the labs. Things that have been discussed in the future, we are in constant conversations with other universities. And like I said, we're offering a semester basically, or that spring trimester in the summer. We might look at lower numbers in which we might have to offer 3 semesters versus 2 semesters. But again, none of that is confirmed because it's constantly evolving based on state recommendations.
Yeah, totally understandable there. Sam, what other questions do we have? I see a few more.
Yeah, it looks like we have one maybe for Chef Mirabello. What are some internships you can do in the baking and pastry arts field?
So for internships, I mean, there's always restaurants you can go to, but outside of that, I mean, there's bakeries. We have a lot of students that go to Wegmans, whether they work, in a savory application or sweet application. They have a really great program. There's hotels, there's cruise ships, casinos. I did my internship at Hotel Hershey in Pennsylvania. That was a really great experience, and I worked fine dining, and then I did some banquet stuff. So I got a really good overall experience there. So there's a lot of opportunities that you can go to just besides a typical bakery or restaurant.
Every faculty will help you make that dream possible. There's no one specific class dedicated to a Creole or the Jamaican cuisine, but we do touch on that and we do go over that. What we do very well is through the faculty, everybody has global experience in different restaurant experience, different cuisines, different backgrounds, different demographics. We bring all of that to you. We give all of that to you every single day. So I don't know, I'm not super well versed in Jamaican cuisine. I've been to Jamaica a couple of times. I think the food is amazing, but I'm not well versed in that. Mine's classical French. But what I can help you with is exploring sensory analysis, plating, business model, delivery model, as far as that for any restaurant, for your restaurant. There are chefs that do have more expertise in that range of food than I, to be very honest. But each faculty member brings a lot of experience in owning a restaurant, running a restaurant, and then sensory analysis, ingredient wise, how to tweak dishes, and then the cooking method and technique to master what you want, to get the food that you want to achieve. But yeah, I can fully, honestly, 1000% say, as I was a student at Johnson & Wales, that every faculty will help you get that dream, to get you closer, to help navigate your way through that to owning a restaurant. Because I think every person here, as far as faculty, is culinary and baking pastry. We live and die by the industry. We love restaurants, and a majority of our faculty has owned restaurants. So you get all that experience with that every single day in the lab.
Thank you, Chef. I don't know about you, Chef, but I go down to Flames in Providence and I get some ackee and saltfish. They know what's up. I'm saying, so at least I know of one intern spot. It's feeding my belly on a regular. I tell you what, let's take one more question and then we're going to cut back and see what Chef Deladon has got in store for us. What you got, Sam?
It looks like someone has their hand raised. I don't know.
Oh,
do you want to go to Janice?
Sure, Janice, go ahead.
You could have the same instructor multiple times, depending on what program you are in. But the reality is that we try and put you into different classrooms with different instructors, because that's one of the strengths of Johnson & Wales, is to be able to expose you to all these different experiences that you get from our faculty, and so that you can ultimately kind of come into your own and take little bits from each of us to make what you want to become. So, I had a student once 3 times, but it happened just to kind of all the dominoes aligned that that's what they wanted to do with their career. But most likely you're going to rotate and you're going to see so many different instructors, and you're going to have ones that you like more than others. And I think that that's one of the strengths of Johnson & Wales.
Hey, thanks, Chef. I said we'd have one more question, but I got to ask this because math was always my challenge in school. And someone's saying, what if I have a learning disability and I struggle with math? How does that work in these programs here?
Yeah, I also struggle with math. So I think it's one of the things that we need to acknowledge, that math is part of the food industry. Anyone who thinks that they want to become a cook because they're not good at math, I mean, they're so integrated. But, we have so many different devices, whether those are, tutors and people that are there to help you, in facilitating your testing, but also the instructors in the lab that are going to show you like kind of the shortcuts on how to make sure that we can kind of understand what needs to get ingrained in our brain and memorize that and then move forward. And, there's always continuous learning at Johnson & Wales. So, even though you are exposed to something in one lab, it pops its head into every lab that you go into. So there's always a chance to reinforce that skill.
That's awesome. Are there international internships? This is for any chef to answer. Are there international internships for BS Culinary Arts students?
Absolutely, there are. So for the Bachelor of Science program for the Culinary Arts, I can say that we had a few go international, and there's always interest in going international. But moving forward right now, I can't really speak to the environment of how it's going to look when we return in the fall and thereafter, as travel bans or the airline companies or just other restaurants around the world in the global community of this industry are facing the same obstacles, and obviously with the pandemic, as far as opening as we are right now in the States. So I don't know how that's going to evolve as far as the options for international sites for internships. There's study abroad programs within the university that go from everywhere from the Azores to Italy. But then also specifically, if there's a restaurant and you're a student in the bachelor degree program, if there is a restaurant that you have always wanted to work at, or enamored with, or dedicated to, or you would love to work there, we will help you as instructors, as advisors, to navigate those waters with our, our internship committee to help you solidify as much as possible to get in that door. We'll use every resource that we have to help get you closer to that internship, international internship, as far as that.
Chefs, when we were talking yesterday, it's something that sort of stuck with me. I was thinking about last night. We're in these uncertain times and things can be challenging, or they appear like we don't know things. We have more questions than answers. And one of you, I can't remember which chef, told me yesterday, you're like, listen, this is the way we do it. We're used to this. This is the norm for us. This is what this thing's all about. Would somebody reflect on that a little bit? Because I'm just like, yeah, it makes sense to me.
Yeah, no. So I think that, if you've ever worked in the food service industry, and as any of the chefs can attest to, very rarely do things go as planned, right? So you start off with this really great idea of how the whole service is going to go, and then there are always going to be challenges that are going to pop up. And I think what chefs do really well is, not only do we think creatively, but we also think critically about some of those challenges, and we try to minimize those challenges as much as possible and look for creative solutions to those challenges. And in many ways, this is one big problem that we're all dealing with right now. And I think you're going to get multiple solutions that are going to come out of it. And some of them can be turned into models that can be duplicated. And then some of them are going to be unique to the situation in which they lie. And that's what's so exciting about the food service industry, right? It's not just, there's not one answer, right? So to solve that problem, you can tackle it in a variety of different ways and really use that kind of creative thinking and mindset of a chef to help solve some of those problems.
That's awesome, Chef. A lot of people could hear those words, I think would be inspired. It's clear that the food industry is changing rapidly, but with that change, there's more opportunity than ever for innovation, and you'll play a role in this. So now that we've heard from our experts, we want to hear from all of you one more time. Last poll, I swear I won't ask you any more questions. So how do you feel about career prospects in the food service industry? You see that poll coming right up. Very hopeful, somewhat hopeful, uncertain, or not hopeful. We're sky high. We've got somewhat and very, somewhere around, I'm trying to do math again, 98% of folks, with 87% saying very hopeful. So thank you for those answers. All right, you haven't forgot. This is the time I've been waiting for anyway. We got Chef Deladon over here. He's making a strawberry shortcake. What's going on, Chef?
Hey, welcome back. Yes, strawberry shortcake. I'll tell you what, I'm hiding behind my liquid nitrogen doer. Can you guys see me? This is what's special about Johnson & Wales, is that I have known, and I'll just use one analog here. I've known Chef McCooch for going on 20 years. He was actually my boss back when I was a student employee while I'm dating myself here. And, when I listen to Chef Stansfield, Chef McCooch, Chef Mirabello, Chef McGuire, Chef Britt, when I listen to my colleagues and my friends talk with the conviction and the passion, and this isn't rehearsed or scripted, I can promise you guys, that inspires me. I'm inspired by the people that are around me. When you get onto this campus, it's electric. It is electric. You're going to be just filled with passion, desire. You're gonna, and to the question about my friend that talking about the Jamaican and the Creole cuisine. We have a campus in Miami. We can pick up the phone right now and we can have a Skype call, Zoom call with folks down there who might be a little bit more well versed, maybe than Chef McGuire or myself, or trained classically in French cuisine. This place is special. This place is different, right? I'm in a kitchen and I feel like I'm in Wonka land. And it's a funny, weird analogy, but I'm playing with food and having a great time with you and my friends and my colleagues. This is real. This is really what happens day to day. So we're back here in the kitchen. I took the privilege to plate up my dessert, and Chef Mirabello is probably going to give me a grade. Is there another poll? I hope not, because she knows I'm not a pastry chef. But I'll tell you what, it looks pretty, and we're going to get some close-up views. All right, I'm going to pour this liquid nitrogen into my container here. It has to be in this doer. That's where And you can see I have my protective gloves on. This doer that I have in front of me, that's how the company will deliver it. If you want to do this at home, or if you want to get into this, you're going to need this piece of equipment. So keep that in mind. Okay. So it keeps it from evaporating because it's so cold that it actually boils at room temperature, right? You can see it boiling. It's 375 degrees below zero. Okay. I can't hear you guys, but what's 375 degrees above zero? Your fryer, right? And you don't want to spill that on your foot. I can tell you that. So you certainly don't want to spill this on your foot. Okay. Just as your fryer will burn you the hot oil. This is the exact same thing, just on the other end of the Fahrenheit scale. Okay. So, we're going to get creative. I have my friend Chef Walsh with that's a tongue twister. Chef Walsh with me, and he's going to take my phone and he's going to toggle to a view where he's going to, let's see if I can, there we go. Chef's going to take that and he's going to follow me along. All right. Stuck. All right. I'm going to turn my KitchenAid mixer on just like this. Okay. Medium speed. And I'm going to pour the liquid nitrogen right into the custard base. Okay, so if you've ever made ice cream at home, you know you need to make a sauce anglaise or an anglaise sauce. Okay, and that's exactly what's in the mixer right now. I have the paddle attachment. Okay, the paddle attachment on here, and you can see tons of smoke, clouds of smoke. Okay, and this nitrogen, as I'm pouring it in, is freezing the custard. I'm making the ice cream. You might have seen this. Turn it up a little bit. I need to get a little bit of air in there, guys. Okay, don't forget about that. We talked about overrun earlier. All right. See through the clouds. I was talking about a retail concept. There's an actual retail concept that actually makes ice cream this way. Okay. And how you're probably wondering how I know when it's done. I can see in the bowl. I know what good ice cream looks like. It just looks like you get it at an ice cream shop. That's exactly what I'm looking for. Okay. I'm going to do a little bit more. So if I were to do this in a machine, I'd have to wait 30 minutes, 45 minutes. Okay. I just made ice cream. And if Zach was counting like I asked him to, were you counting? All right, Zach, let's go down to the countertop here. Okay, I'm going to take my gloves off. All right, can you get a shot of that plate? Okay, my shortcake is underneath. All right, you can see the chantilly, the avocado chantilly cream in between, and then I have a shortcake on top. And on top, and Chef McGuire is going to be really happy about this one. That's a brunoise, man. I haven't done that in a while. Brunoise of strawberry with just a little bit of lemon juice and a little bit of sugar. And that's called maceration. So I have a little bit of macerated berry. So right now, that's a perfectly normal way to eat strawberry shortcake, okay? Whipped cream shortcake and strawberries, okay? We're going to, if I could quote my friend, Chef Emerald, we're going to kick it up a little bit right here. And we're going to add some of this liquid nitrogen ice cream. Can you get a shot of that? Okay, look how it's on the paddle, okay? Wow. That's ice cream, my friends, okay? I have my quenelle scoop right here, okay, and a little bit of warm water. Okay. Zach, can you see me?
Yep.
All right. We're going to go right on top of the strawberries with the liquid nitrogen ice cream. Okay, guys. I'm the only one eating this, if you're wondering where my gloves are. Take a little mint sprig just like that. Okay. There's your, I'm going to get a close up, but we can't forget about the broth. Okay. We can't forget about that clear strawberry broth that we made earlier in the centrifuge. Okay. And if I was serving this at the restaurant, I'd come right to the table with my decanter and I'd have my maitre d' or my captain pour this tableside just like that.
Awesome.
See that, guys? All right. So there's your strawberry shortcake with avocado chantilly cream, strawberry broth, and nitrogen ice cream. I just want to take the opportunity to thank my friends at Leadership Rhode Island. I want to take the opportunity to thank my colleagues and my friends in admissions for being on the call. I had such a good time today. I hope to see you in the fall. Really can't wait. Stop by and see me in the Cuisinart Center for Culinary Excellence. Thanks again for being here. I'm going to take it back to Mike. Thanks so much.
Chef, that is ridiculous. The only thing that I'm concerned about is I don't get to eat some of that right now. Let's hook up later. Let's hook up later. So listen, folks, this is just a glimpse of what's possible in a JWU classroom. And we're hoping that today was energizing and you feel excited about the future of food. And we're going to close it up with another video. So play it, Chris.
If food is what you love, you're going to turn that dream, you're going to turn that passion into a career at Johnson & Wales. That's without a doubt.
My academic classrooms, there's 20 people and your professor knows your name.
It's not like other colleges. There's a lot of different opportunities, and the chefs are always there to help you get those opportunities.
It's easy to ask questions with the professors. They're very knowledgeable. There's not a question that I have stumped the chef on or a professor. They always know the answer. I always try and stump them, but it never happens.
We take students and we turn them into some of the best food professionals in the business.
In terms of getting prepared for internships, I was 100% prepared for the things they were going to throw at me.
Leaving here, I feel like I'm prepared to do anything I want to do.
When I leave Johnson & Wales, something I'm going to take away with me, I think, is a sense of what work ethic really means.
If the career is around food, a Johnson & Wales graduate is completely prepared to take that job.
All right, everybody, thanks for joining us today. Many, 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 many thanks to the chefs for sharing your knowledge, your expertise. And I encourage you to reach out to the admissions staff and any of the panelists. If you have any other questions, please do. And we'll see you on campus soon.